Hello and welcome back to another Lone Wolf Aquatics video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about 5 different things that will help you set up a low maintenance aquarium and keep it low maintenance. Now, when I say low maintenance, no matter what aquarium or aquascape you set up, there's always going to be a little bit of maintenance that you're going to have to do. The ammonia will rise when you put fish in. You'll have to do a water change. Sure, I've heard of some people just leaving the fish in there without doing a water change, and that just seems cruel to me. But no matter what you do to create a low maintenance aquascape, you will still have to do some maintenance. So let's get straight into it. Now that we've covered that point, let's get straight into it. And yeah, let's have some fun. All right, so my first point will be stocking levels. So the more fish or the more stock you have and put into an aquarium is going to increase the maintenance. No way around it. Okay, so because they will create more mold, more detritus on the bottom, more crap. They'll produce much more crap. And then also, the more fish you put in, the higher the ammonia is going to spike at the beginning of the aquarium. So you're going to have to do a water change. And in the long run, nitrates are going to build up at the end of the nitrogen cycle that you will have to remove. That's the whole reason you do a water change. Not at first. At first it's to lower the ammonia levels because ammonia always spikes the second you put fish in. But nitrates will also start to build up the more fish you have. So you will need, there are ways around it. So there are ways that you can remove that. But that is one major thing when creating a low maintenance aquascape. How much fish are you going to put in it? The lower the better, and sometimes even the smaller the better. Now with stocking as well, this kind of adds on to what I've said before. The more stocking you put in, the more water changes and stuff you're going to have to do. Now, when choosing that stocking, whatever you're going to stock the tank with, make sure to choose it wisely, right? So you're going to want something to help reduce algae. You're going to want something that does not eat plants if you're going to pick live plants, because that'll just create a bunch of crap and stuff like that. So make sure you're picking your stocking wisely. I have a snail in here that has been able to keep the algae levels down. So I've actually had to do very, very minimal work on this tank. Now, I wouldn't quite call it a low maintenance because I still do water changes weekly and I still take care of it. And it looks really, really good. I love it. Even though there is some algae on the sides, I do leave at least the sides and the back for the snail. But again, just make sure you're picking that stocking very carefully. You're thinking about algae, where is that going to get you, etc. Now, number 2, and this ties into number 1 a little bit, is are you going to be using live plants? Right? So live plants will actually, tying into the first point, will actually remove the nitrates. So, different things like epiphytes or even floating plants will help remove those. So are you going to be using live plants in an aquascape? Because if you use fake plants, you're going to have to up your water changes to remove the nitrates. There's no way around it. Whereas if you use live plants, that will help decrease that, and should, if you put enough of them in, decrease it down to a level that you don't have to do water changes or other things. To get rid of the nitrates, you're going to want live plants. Now, obviously, more live plants the better, because that will reduce the possibility of a algae bloom or whatever. So this tank here, it's got some algae. There's some on the sides. I left it for this video. And there's also some around the little bits of moss. Now, I do have a mystery snail in here. He's just chilling out on the glass right now. But that guy can help remove that. However, he does add to the stocking levels. So, everything you add, plants or stocking, is going to change the other one. So, when choosing live plants, make sure you have something that will pull the nitrates out of the system. Okay, and epiphytes are great for this. So are floating plants, especially red root floaters. I've heard are really good. I've never had good luck with them, but some other people might. It's just me. Now, number 3, my third point on this list is going to be flow and or filter. Okay. So the whatever you stock it with, there's going to build up mold and detritus on the bottom from fish waste, right? And potentially other things like wood, even dead dying plants, stuff like that, right? So when you're putting a filter into a low maintenance aquascape, you're going to want something with a decent amount of flow to kind of kick that crap up and then also suck it up, right? So make sure you are picking a filter with high flow. That's the right size for your aquarium. Does a really good job. And make sure it's positioned where it will kick up the most amount of crap. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get everything in the tank that's built up on the bottom up into the filter. You're just not. You know, I have tried many aquascapes, and not any of them are perfect. Some do better than others, depending. This one does fairly well because there's a filter in the back. Yes, I did replace the submersible filter or whatever. I just wanted to, personal preference. But I positioned it in such a way that it would actually kick stuff around and then get sucked up by the tube. So make sure you position your filters adequately and correctly in the right spot. Now, obviously, there's still some mold and detritus down here and over here. And this point is going to be light levels, or what type of light do you have on your aquarium and how long is it on for? Some lights are stronger than others. So if you pick a stronger light, you're not going to want it on as long unless you're throwing CO2 or something else in there. Because, and this is the reason I say because, a lot of algae will start to bloom. The higher the light, the more light you use, the more algae you will basically produce, right? If I leave this aquarium light on for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's going to be algae everywhere, guaranteed. No matter how good the filter is, no matter how good the snail is at cleaning that up, there will be algae everywhere. So make sure if you pick a super strong light or even just a normal light, you find and dial in how many hours you need to have it on per day to grow the plants if you have live plants, but not grow algae. You want to, if you start getting algae, start dialing it down just a little bit until the algae starts to disappear. Now, obviously, you're going to have algae in every single tank. It just happens. Even in tanks I've never even put plants in, it shows up. It's just a part of nature. So if you have a super strong light, just realize that that's a possibility, and you'll need to tone it down as you use it and try and find that sweet spot where the plants are growing, but algae isn't becoming a massive problem. And snails, catfish, autosynclus catfish, that's what I'm thinking of. Those are great when it comes to algae. So again, going back to that stocking levels, make sure you're choosing your stocking wisely, but also make sure you dial in your lights to that sweet spot, okay? Because if it's too high all the time and you've got it running constantly, you're going to have a ton of algae, and that just doesn't look good. And then you're going to have to go in and pick it out, and then that ruins the idea of a low maintenance. Now, here's a tip I've kind of picked up from keeping fish for quite a while now, and that is gravel versus sand. Sand is much more likely to show the fish waste than gravel. The gravel's got all those little, it's got a bunch of holes in it, right? So the fish waste will fall in between the gravel, between the rocks, and it will kind of conceal it a little better. Now, it'll still be there, but it won't look as bad in the long run, because as soon as your aquarium starts looking bad, you're going to want to maintain it. You're going to want to do that water change, suck all that crap out of there. But with gravel, you don't see it as often. Okay. I just rescaped a 40-gallon, which you guys will be seeing on Friday. That tank had gravel in it. I almost never sucked it out of the gravel. And yes, that's probably a bad, maintenance on me, because it never looked bad. I never once saw fish waste or detritus because it had gravel. Now I do use sand, so obviously it's gonna build up a little more, but gravel will hide it a little better, even if it's pea gravel. So when picking your substrates, make sure you pick one that hides that just a little bit better. Now obviously you don't want it hiding it to the point where you're neglecting the tank and it's just filling up with waste and looking awful, but gravel does hide it a little better. So when picking those substrates, think about that. And here's a bonus one. If you're going to be putting wood into an aquarium, pre-soak it. Okay? I have had a couple aquariums blow up on me because I did not pre-soak the wood, and not just because they lift it out. There's ways to get around that by gluing them down, etc. But oftentimes wood, if you don't pre-soak it, it will get all this crap on it. I don't know the specific term, but it's like white and goopy kind of stuff. And once that kind of disappears or falls off, it'll leave crap all over the bottom of the tank, and it just does not look good. So bonus point, if you want to make a low maintenance tank, soak your wood or boil it. Boiling it does a much better job. Now, obviously, with some of these bigger aquariums, that's really hard to do. So boil or pre-soak your wood, helps keep that crap off and crap down, and then you have less of a problem in the long run. And then also, by pre-soaking it or boiling it, you don't have this problem happening. Now this is Ken's tank. Now he is a giant beta, so he doesn't really mind all of the tannins in the water. Like, actually it's really good for him. That's why I've left it. Now I still do water changes. That's why it's not completely pitch black, but it will remove that, and not every fish likes that. Betas do. Betas love it, so I've left it for him, for Ken. He doesn't even mind. He actually enjoys it. He's actually been a whole lot more active since I've left the tannins in the water. Pre-soak or boil your wood before you put it in. It helps out in the long run. Now, I hope these 5 points will help you when creating a low maintenance aquascape, because not everybody wants to be running around cleaning aquariums all the time. So hopefully these helped you. If they did, smash that like and subscribe button. There's a lot more awesome content coming up. But if you have other ways to help out other aquascapers, please put it down below. Let's help each other out. If you've got other ideas outside of the 5 I mentioned, well, 6 I mentioned, please put them down in the comments. Help other people figure it out, because some people just enjoy an aquarium that's nice to look at and easy to maintain, with little work. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.